Hello and welcome to Shell Point Today for Wednesday, February 10th. I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi.
And I'm Rich Nation. Thanks for joining us. On today's program, we will head out to Ruth Deuber's kitchen to see what's cooking. And Heather Batty will find out all about the latest travel opportunities with Ising's.
But first, we want to remind you of tomorrow's meeting on forming a dragon boat racing team right here at Shell Point. In the Osprey Room at 2:15, you can find out about dragon boat racing, how it meets the 6 dimensions of Life Quest, and why resident Minnie Astier loves the sport so much and wants you to be on her racing team. So plan to attend this informative meeting tomorrow.
Calling all acts, it's time once again to showcase all the great talent we have here at Shell Point in this year's variety show, which is themed Bright Lights, Big City. Boy, I can already hear Frank Sinatra singing about New York. And you can sing about the Big Apple too if you want. Just sign up with Caitlin Van Scoy by April 1st. You can give her a call at 454-2057. Then get out those dancing shoes, warm up those vocal cords, or whatever you need to sing, dance, recite, act, or perform for the 2016 Shell Point Variety Show, which takes place, by the way, on April 19th in the Village Church Auditorium.
The Academy on the Go is taking a trip to the Fakahatchee Strand Preserve for a nature walk this Friday. They have the world's largest cypress and royal palm forest located in a 20-mile swamp where the park's wildlife is as diverse as its flora. You can journey along a 1.2-mile boardwalk with interpretive stops along the way. Come explore and enjoy this wilderness, followed by lunch at the Oyster House in Everglades City. The cost of the trip is $25 and includes lunch. Court pickups begin on the island this Friday at 8 a.m. for those who've signed up.
And speaking of food, it's time to head over to Ruth Deuber's kitchen. This time she's cooking up some Parm chicken tenders. Sounds yummy, and I'm starving, by the way. Let's go out to her kitchen now for an episode of What's Cooking.
Hello, I'm Ruth Deuber, and this is What's Cooking at Shell Point. And I have kind of a fun recipe that I've had fun with it when I've had grandkids or grandchildren here. You know, they always like the nuggets and all kinds of things like that. This is a crunchy Parmesan chicken tender. Now, these are chicken tenders. I'll get it over here so you can get a picture of it. This was one package, and it was 0.98. So I'm assuming that it's almost a pound, and that's good enough. And these have been soaking in buttermilk, 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. And it says 15 minutes to 30 minutes you should soak them. So now we're going to get them out of that. And I have the oven heating 500 degrees. So it takes a long time to heat up, but it really cooks the chicken well. So we'll just drain this off. Let's see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6 in this package. It says to put some olive oil on whatever you're cooking on. Now, I like to use the non-stick, heavy-duty non-stick foil. I am not a fan of cleaning pans. And so, putting this side up, you put this dull side up. So I'm going to line my pan with that. Now we're going to take a 1/4 cup of Parmesan. Get some of the lumps out. And a 1/2 cup of Italian breadcrumbs. So we want to mix that. Here's the olive oil. Even though it's a non-stick surface, I am going to put a little bit on. Okay. Now, the last step before it goes in the oven is to add a little bit of olive oil on the top. Now, I don't know how much is a drizzle, but that's sort of up to you. We'll take this over. I think we're pretty close. And we're going to set this for 12 minutes. However, we will keep an eye on it. So here it goes. Whew, that is really hot. Okay, now, while that's cooking, here comes the fun part. It's a dipping sauce. And it's a little bit tricky. This is balsamic vinegar, and this is a half a teaspoon of salt. And there's the 2 garlic cloves. Now, we're going to mince it up. Now, the object is to make sort of a paste out of it, and you do it with salt. Now, this is quite a job, but one thing, it gives you something to do while the chicken is cooking. So. Now I'm going to put it in a little dish, one of June Lockhart's Cocapelli bowl. And then we'll add the balsamic vinegar. That's the last step. The vinegar and the garlic really smell good. Okay, I'm going to turn the oven off. There we are. And we'll get the dipping sauce, which is over here. I need a knife. I gave it about 13 minutes. You can see it's cooked all the way through. And this is going to be hot. Tip it in there. That was so tasty. Well, I hope you'll try it. It's kind of a fun dish to have. So, it is up on the website already. So I hope you try it, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.
Jeanne Veldman from Ising's Travel is excited to share with us all the great getaways in store for this year. If you've been thinking about taking a trip to a place you've never been for breathtaking scenery, amazing discoveries, and exciting memories, then Ising's has everything ready for your excursion. They have unique travel programs designed just for Shell Point residents that will maximize your experience, safety, and fun. Heather Batty visits with Jeanne now to learn all about the convenience of these travel programs and where you can go with them this year.
Hi, I'm Heather Batty with Resort Services. Today I'm here with Jeanne from Ising's Travel. We're going to be talking about our Shell Point travel program. Hi Jeanne, thanks for being here with me today.
Hey Heather, thank you for having me here.
And we're here in the mountains.
Just to give a little bit more atmosphere to the trips that are coming up. Wonderful.
So tell me about Shell Point's travel program that you run from Ising's Travel for us.
Well, it really is a unique program. What we do is include a lot of different features that you don't see with anyone else. We want Shell Point to have a very, very special program. And in it, it's all based on the experiences. Any trip that we put together, we always try to find something that will supersede any experiences that the residents may have had in the past, even if they've been to those destinations before. And we also include the conveniences. So in every Shell Point trip, it always has an escort that goes along. On most of the trips, it is a professional escort that gives them an idea of each one of the destinations that they're going to. And also we try to come up with a special security protocol for them. So wherever they're going, they're watched over, everything's taken care of, any needs that they have is taken care of. It starts right from their door.
Right.
We include door-to-door transportation, and we care for them all the way through during the entire trip. On the tours, on the land tours, we specifically limit them to no more than 28 guests. That way we feel that we can give them a more superlative experience and more individualized experience through the entire trip.
Right.
On the cruises, we make sure there's social experiences every time.
Yes, I've heard they're very fun.
We do a lot of fun. We do door prizes on the cruises. We do mix and mingles every night. We don't want any resident ever to come on a trip and never get to know anybody else on the trip. We want everybody to have a great time.
They sound like great trips whenever I hear.
Well, we always try to up the skill level or the classic level of the trip. So anytime we get a recommendation, we're always upping the ante and making sure they're fabulous.
So what are some of these upcoming fabulous trips that we're going on?
Well, if you look at the Shell Point list, we start out with a Rhine cruise in April. It'll be a trip that starts out in Amsterdam, and we're going to focus on the tulips and Keukenhof Gardens, and then we're going to take a wonderful cruise from Amsterdam all the way down the beautiful Rhine River, ending in Zurich before we come home.
Wow.
Now that one is getting full. We have only one room left. And I will be the escort on that one. I'm looking forward to taking.
Lucky for you.
Well, I enjoy the residents, and we really get to know them very well. That trip has only one room, and it's just to accentuate that these trips fill up quickly. So it's important to let us know as soon as possible. The next trip is the Canyonlands trip. On this one, again, 2 places left because we limit it to no more than 28 guests. So on the Canyonlands trip, we're going to be staying at the national parks, on the south rim of the Grand Canyon, in the Monument Valley Goulding's Lodge, on Lake Powell. We'll take them through Slot Canyons. We'll take them to Zion National Park and Bryce Canyon National Park.
And when is that one?
That one's on May the 9th.
Okay.
The next one in line is Alaska, and you can see that we're standing in front of a little bit of Alaska here, just to get us in the mood. Another great trip. Well, yes, it kind of goes back and forth, but Alaska is a very majestic place. And here we're doing a land tour and a cruise combined. So our folks will get to go to Fairbanks, they'll go into Denali National Park, they'll go to the Kenai and have the beautiful Kenai Fjords cruise, and then starts the Holland America cruise from the Kenai down to Vancouver. Wow. And the sights are spectacular. We're going to be going to the Skagway port, where you're going to have the White Pass Railroad into the Yukon. We're going to be going to Juneau, the capital of Alaska. You'll see breaching whales here as you're going through the passage. And of course there's Ketchikan, and most people haven't even been to Misty Fjords National Park, one of the most beautiful national parks that exist in Alaska. After that, there's a brand new tour we're planning.
Okay.
This one will be our Thousand Islands tour and Niagara Falls. So this one's just in the making right now. So the actual flyer is going to come out in the very near future. But keep it in mind.
When is that?
That will be probably the end of July, because we're kind of moving it in end of July based on early August, somewhere in there. And on that one, we'll fly up to Burlington, Vermont for 2 nights. We'll cross Lake Champlain and spend 2 nights in Lake Placid. Wonderful. Then across northern New York, up to the Center Islands, where the Thousand Island Cruise takes you on a beautiful day cruise through the islands. And then 2 nights at Niagara Falls.
Very fun.
So very fun trip. That's coming up. There's a spectacular trip coming up with Ireland and a transatlantic crossing on the Queen Mary 2. That one, again, is really an outstanding trip of Southern Ireland with 2 nights in Dublin. We're going to spend 2 nights on the property of Ashford Castle. So it'll be spectacular. We'll see the cliffs of Moher. We'll spend 2 nights in Killarney. We'll spend a night in Waterford, and then cross into England for 3 nights in Bath. And here we'll explore the beautiful historic Cotswolds and Shakespeare territory, Stonehenge, and then come transatlantic on the Queen Mary 2.
Wow, I'm going to pack my bags.
It's time to go.
I'm
it's
ready
time
to
go. Yep.
So in order to sign up for these trips, you can call either service desk, or you can reach out to Bev Chanley, or you could even call Ising's Travel and speak with Jeanne. So if you're like me, you're going to want to pack your bags and get ready to go on one of these fantastic trips. Thank you so much, and stay happy and healthy.
Thank you, everyone.
And now it's time to take a look at today's happenings, Academy News, menus, and Village Church Connections.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Happenings segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chanley.
And I'm Caitlin Van Scoy.
And we're going to go over the activities for you here today. We're going to start with the 7:45 men's Bible study at the Osprey Room on the island. 8 o'clock, it's time for pickleball at the game courts behind the Resident Activities Center. Also at 8 o'clock, we have the men's match play tennis down at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. At 8:45, you'll find Lily & Company Jewelers here for their weekly service in the Resident Activities Center. Jurassic Travel will be in the egret room from 9 to 12 to help you if you have any personal travel needs. And we have a Health Connections class, trail walking. That'll be at 9 o'clock at the Woodlands Gazebo Boardwalk. That is currently full. And the watercolor group with Phil Hilton will be in the art studio at 9. 9:15, we have card making and scrapbooking group in the Tarpon Room on the island. And at 10 o'clock, we have the ladies' Bible study in the Osprey Room. Also at 10 o'clock, we have the men's match play tennis at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. The Model Yacht Sailing Club will be sailing their boats at the Woodlands Lake at 10:15. And we have a Health Connections class at 11:30, Agility and Flexibility. That's in the Health Club. It's currently full. Well, here's Caitlin. She's going to continue with the afternoon lineup for you.
Thank you, Bev. We start the afternoon off at 12:45 with a Health Connections class, Advanced Senior Strength. That's in the Health Club, and sign up is required. We have chess at 1 o'clock in the Library Lounge. From 1:30 to 3:30, the Model Train Room will be open for tours and viewing. That's down in the Island Tunnel in the train room. At 1:45, we have a Health Connections class, Balance and Mobility for Beginners. That is currently closed, and that will be held in the Health Club. Jazz and Stuff will be giving a free concert in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands at 2:30. And at 3 o'clock, Pilates Stretch will occur in the Health Club. We have indoor bocce at 4:30 in the Health Club. At 5 o'clock, the singles table is available at the Crystal Dining Room. And then we move to 5:45 for church choir rehearsal. That's in the Village Church Choir Room. At 6:15, there is an outing going out to the Barbara B. Mann Theater. Leaves from the island at 6:15, 6:25 Woodlands, and 6:35 Eagles Preserve and Estuary. We conclude our Wednesday with the Ash Wednesday service at 7:15 in the Village Church. We're so happy to see you here today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Colath with the Academy information for Ash Wednesday. At 9 o'clock, we have Digital Camera Prep School in the Sabre Room of the Woodlands. And at 10 o'clock, Bull or Bear? What does the future hold for our markets? A legacy seminar in the Grand Cypress Room. At 10:15, Google Workshops continues in the Technology Teaching Center. And at 1 o'clock, Intermediate Bridge. The next session begins in the Game Room of the Woodlands, and sign-up is required. I'd like to tell you about a new class coming tomorrow. Professor Adrian Kerr will teach Jordan's Petra, Rose Red City, half as old as time, and you can sign up right at the door.
Menus for Wednesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is baked grouper with boiled red potatoes and broccoli. The dinner special is the All-American Buffet for $14.95. The soup of the day is tortellini and sausage. In the Advent Cafe for lunch, the special is a roast beef panini with Swiss cheese, peppers, onions, and chips for $7.75. The dinner special is fried shrimp for $8.75. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are stuffed pork loin for $15.95 or stuffed sole for $17.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey. As a boy in England, I was inspired by the adventure of Captain Robert Falcon Scott, who led a team of explorers to the Antarctic, hoping to be the first to reach the geographic South Pole. But when they arrived there on the 17th of January 1912, they found that a Norwegian team led by Roald Amundsen had beaten them by 34 days. On the 895-mile return journey from the pole, 150 miles from their base camp and 11 miles from the next food depot, Scott and his companions died from a combination of exhaustion, starvation, and extreme cold. In 1914, 2 years later, another British explorer, Sir Ernest Shackleton, led a team hoping to be the first to make the cross-Antarctica trek via the pole on foot. Before even making landfall, however, their ship, the Endurance, captained by the New Zealander Frank Worsley, became trapped in the ice for 10 months before it eventually sank. Miraculously, all the team survived for over 400 days, eventually managing to sail 3 lifeboats to Elephant Island. From there, Frank Worsley, with Shackleton and 4 others, sailed the 22-foot lifeboat some 800 miles across the stormy South Atlantic Ocean, eventually arriving at South Georgia. Shackleton and Worsley then battled through snow and ice across mountainous South Georgia in a 36-hour struggle to fetch help from Stromness, the whaling station there. This enabled them to return to Elephant Island aboard a Chilean ship to rescue the remaining members of the expedition, all of whom survived. Inspired by the example of his distant relative Frank Worsley and Ernest Shackleton, in November 2015, just last year, British explorer Henry Worsley attempted to complete Shackleton's aborted journey by making the first unassisted solo crossing of Antarctica from coast via the pole on foot to the other coast while pulling a sled containing food for 80 days and a tent with equipment. With no supply drops or assistance from dogs, he faced temperatures of minus 44 centigrade, battling whiteout blizzards and treacherous ice, not to mention a 9,000-foot uphill grind to the pole. Aiming to complete his journey in 75 days, Henry covered 913 of the 943-mile trek in 69 days, with only 30 miles left to go. However, he spent days 70 and 71 in his tent, suffering from exhaustion and severe dehydration. Finally, he radioed for help, reporting, "The 71 days alone on the Antarctic, with over 900 statute miles covered and a gradual grinding down of my physical endurance, finally took its toll today. And it is with sadness that I report, it is journey's end, so close to my goal. Worsley was then airlifted to Punta Arenas in Chile, where on the 24th of January 2016, he died of complete organ failure following surgery for peritonitis. He was 55 years old. Now, what caught my attention was the headline in USA Today. Explorer dies 30 miles short of Antarctic feet. 30 miles short. Short is short, however, whether 30 miles short, 50 miles short, or 5 miles short. Short is short. The Apostle Paul claimed that we all fall short in another sense. We all fall short of God's glorious standard, he observed, because everyone has sinned. Yes, all of us fall short of God's standard of holiness and perfection, however good we think we are. Sin is not only doing what is wrong, but the failure to do what one knows to be right. Always. Compared with our neighbors, we may rate rather well, but our neighbors are not the standard of comparison. God is. We may be kind, generous, compassionate, faithful, but we all fall short of God's standard of perfection. Nor can we argue that we only commit little sins and so deserve eternal life. All sins make us sinners and cut us off from a holy God. But the Apostle Paul goes on to affirm that God sent Jesus to be the sacrifice for our sin. People are made right with God when they believe that Jesus sacrificed his life, shedding his blood, dying as our substitute. Christ followers enjoy what Jesus called a rich and satisfying life, not because they're striving for perfection and falling short, but because they recognize that Jesus has done for them what they cannot do for themselves. God does not respond to what we do, we respond to what he does. He himself is fair and just, and he declares sinners to be right in his sight when they believe in Jesus. The great Antarctic explorers remind us that a miss is as good as a mile. To fall short is to fail. Better to accept God's plan and enjoy the rich and satisfying life of a believer in Jesus Christ. And thank you for tuning in to Village Church Connections.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Return tomorrow when we will learn about an Academy on the Go trip to Sanibel's historical village, a Health Connections class on sugar, and Jeff Corey and Melody Desolé will tell us what to expect this weekend for Friendship Day. Until then, this has been Shell Point Today for Wednesday, February 10th. I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi.
And I'm Rich Nation. Thanks for spending your time with us, and we hope it was time well spent. We're looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow.